Love to work with Eddie. Eddie won't return my call, so maybe one day we'll have a conversation. But I think Eddie got to a place in his life. He's like, look, I've done it all.
Eddie Murphy has been a household name for decades, lighting up Hollywood with his sharp wit, unforgettable characters, and undeniable talent. From the early days of Asterisk Saturday Night Live Asterisk to box office smashes like Asterisk Beverly Hills Cop Asterisk, Asterisk Coming to America Asterisk, and Asterisk the Nutty Professor Asterisk, Eddie made sure his presence was known. But despite all the power and recognition he holds in the industry, there's one figure he continues to distance himself from, Tyler Perry. And that distance hasn't gone unnoticed. While Tyler has made public comments about wanting to work with Eddie, saying he would love to share a set with him and even mentioning how Murphy won't return his calls, Eddie remains silent. Fans and insiders have started putting the pieces together, trying to understand the real reason behind this cold shoulder. What is it that keeps these two giants apart? Why hasn't a collaboration between two of the most powerful black men in entertainment ever happened to get to the heart of this mystery? You have to look beneath the surface beyond the headlines and into the private lives and personal pressures that both men carry in Hollywood. Eddie Murphy has always kept his personal life out of the spotlight. And that's not just by coincidence, it's by design. He's been famous since he was in his early 20s. And from the very beginning, people had questions, not just about his comedy or his acting, but about who he is off camera. One moment, in particular, has followed him for decades. In 1997, Eddie was pulled over by police in West Hollywood while giving a ride to a transgender woman. No charges were filed, and his team immediately issued a statement saying he was simply helping someone in need. But the media didn't care. About the truth, the headlines ran wild, and the public ran even wilder. That single incident became the centerpiece of ongoing speculation about Murphy's sexuality. And in Hollywood, especially in the 90s, those kinds of rumors could ruin careers. From that point on, Eddie became even more guarded. He kept his romantic life private, avoided interviews that went too deep, and was extremely careful about the kinds of roles he took. That kind of privacy wasn't just about being mysterious. It was about survival as a black man in Hollywood, especially one with as much visibility as Eddie Murphy. Every move is watched. Every word can be twisted. Every photo can be spun into a story. So Eddie did what many stars in his position do. He created a tight circle, kept the outside world at bay, and focused on the work. Now let's look at Tyler Perry. Tyler came into the industry through a very different path. He didn't start as an actor or comedian. He started as a playwright, creating stories rooted in black families. Pain, healing, and faith. His rise was slow at first, filled with rejections and financial struggles. But once he found his audience, Tyler didn't just succeed, he built an empire. From the creation of the Medea character to his ownership of Tyler Perry Studios, he changed the game for black storytellers in Hollywood. His influence can't be denied. He opened doors that had been locked for decades, giving opportunities to actors and writers who had long been ignored by mainstream studios. But like Eddie, Tyler has also faced whispers and speculation. Much of it has focused on his private life, particularly his sexuality. Unlike many public figures, Perry has never publicly addressed those rumors. He hasn't confirmed or denied anything. Instead, he's remained completely silent, choosing to let his work speak for itself. Some industry insiders say that this silence is not about shame or secrecy, it's about strategy. Tyler knows that Hollywood can be cruel to black men who don't fit the traditional mold of masculinity. And in an industry where public image means everything, he's chosen to control his narrative by saying nothing at all. That silence, however, has not stopped the rumors. In fact, it's only fueled them. And because Tyler's most famous character, Medea, is a loud, over-the-top black woman played by Perry himself in drag, it adds another layer to how people view him. Some critics and fans see Medea as a brilliant comedic invention, while others see it as a mask, something Tyler uses to deflect attention from who he really is. Whether that's true or not, the public perception of Tyler Perry continues to be shaped by these questions. Now, when you take a step back and look at both men, the parallels are clear. Both are black men in Hollywood who have reached incredible heights. Both have made it their mission to uplift black voices. Both have had their sexuality questioned by the media and the public. And both have chosen very different ways to deal with that attention. Eddie Murphy has fought back hard, sometimes with silence, sometimes with sharp words. Tyler Perry, on the other hand, has leaned into the shadows, letting speculation swirl around him while he focuses on the work. It's in these differences that you start to see why they might not be able to work together. It's not about dislike or beef, it's about boundaries. Eddie has spent decades carefully managing how the public sees him, teaming up with someone like Tyler Perry, who is constantly surrounded by similar speculation. Could be seen as a risk, not because Tyler is doing anything wrong, but because in Hollywood, even innocent collaborations can be twisted into something else. For Eddie, who's still trying to shake off decades-old rumors, working with Tyler might feel like stepping back into the fire. An insider who spoke to Variety said it plainly, Eddie is cautious. He's worked hard to keep his image intact. Partnering with Tyler Perry might open him up to more gossip, more headlines, more questions. And after everything Eddie's been through, that's a risk he's just not willing to take. It's not about shade, it's about self-protection. But image isn't the only factor at play. There's another layer to this competition. Both men are giants in black entertainment, but they've carved out their empires in different ways. Eddie Murphy built his career on raw talent, stand-up, sketch comedy, blockbuster hits. He was a star before he turned 25. Tyler Perry, meanwhile, built his success from the ground up, writing, producing, and creating a whole studio. He didn't just act in films, he owned them. And that kind of power can create tension. There's a quiet rivalry between them, not loud, not messy, but real. Industry insiders have pointed out that neither man acknowledges the other's accomplishments. Publicly, when Tyler Perry made history by opening the largest film studio in the country, there were no public congratulations from Eddie Murphy, and when Eddie received a Lifetime Achievement Award, Perry's team was silent too. That kind of silence in Hollywood speaks volumes. It doesn't always mean hate, but it often signals distance, competition, or a lack of respect. The few times the two have been spotted in the same space at award shows, charity galas, or industry events, fans notice the coldness. No hugs, no warm smiles, just polite nods and quick exits. Social media buzzes every time. People zoom in on photos, analyzing body language, looking for clues about the tension. And every time, they come to the same conclusion: something's off. There's also the issue of creative control. Eddie Murphy is known for being particular about the roles he takes. He doesn't just do projects for a check. He's careful about his legacy. Tyler Perry, on the other hand, runs a fast-paced production studio that puts out multiple films and shows every year. Some critics say Perry's work can be formulaic or rushed, and while his fans love the emotional punch of his stories, others think the writing sometimes lacks polish. Eddie, who has spent years carefully curating his career, might not want to be part of something he can't fully control, especially if it doesn't meet his standards. Then there's the content. Tyler's work often leans heavily into themes of black pain, redemption, and faith. He draws from church culture, spiritual struggle, and complex family drama. Eddie's style, meanwhile, is more comedic, satirical, and sometimes even edgy. The two approach storytelling in completely different ways. Working together would require compromise, and for two men who are used to being the boss, compromise might not be on the table. It's also important to understand how deeply rooted Hollywood stereotypes are when it comes to black masculinity. Both Eddie and Tyler have had to navigate an industry that often puts black men into boxes. If you're too soft, they question your sexuality. If you're too hard, they say you're angry. If you show emotion, they say you're weak. Both men have tried to walk the tightrope in their own ways, and that tightrope is exhausting. One false move, one wrong quote, one photo taken out of context, and the media explodes. For Eddie, teaming up with Tyler could mean risking everything he's worked to protect. Even if there's no truth to the rumors, the headlines alone could damage his carefully crafted image. And in a business that trades in perception, that kind of damage can cost you roles, deals. In respect, Eddie has seen how fast things can turn. That 1997 incident is a reminder of just how fragile fame can be. But there is also hope in seeing how both men have evolved. Eddie Murphy, in recent years, has started to open up a little more. He's looked back on some of his old comedy and admitted that it hasn't aged well. He's shown signs of growth, maturity, and even regret over some of the things he said in the past. That's a powerful step for someone who spent so long guarding himself. Tyler, too, has expanded his reach, collaborating with big names outside his usual circle, exploring new genres and making bolder political statements. He's used his platform to advocate for equality and has quietly pushed for more LGBTQ+ representation in his shows, even if he never speaks about his own life. His work shows a man who believes in inclusion and fairness, so maybe one day the walls will come down. Maybe one day Eddie Murphy will pick up that phone and call Tyler Perry back. Maybe they'll find common ground not just as black men in Hollywood, but as artists who've both faced the storm and come out stronger. But for now, the distance remains, and it speaks volumes. This situation between Eddie Murphy and Tyler Perry is about more than just the celebrities not getting along. It's about the complicated world they live in, the unspoken rules, the constant judgment, and the pressure to be everything to everyone. It's about how black men in the spotlight are expected to perform not just on screen, but in life. To fit into boxes, to stay silent, to never slip. The silence between Eddie and Tyler is heavy with meaning. It's not loud, it's not public, but it's there. And until Hollywood becomes a place where black men can be fully themselves without fear, without judgment, without labels, that silence might stay exactly where it is. Hidden behind red carpet smiles, rehearsed interviews, and controlled narratives. But just because it's quiet doesn't mean it isn't real. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Eddie Murphy's distance from Tyler Perry is personal or just smart business? And do you think the two will ever put their differences aside and work together? Until next time, stay informed, stay thoughtful, and remember there's always more to the story than what we see on the surface. Even though both Eddie Murphy and Tyler Perry are standing on top of their own mountains in the entertainment world, the roads they took to get there couldn't be more different. That difference matters. Eddie's career is rooted in classic Hollywood stardom. He was a breakout star in the 80s, one of the few black comedians to cross over into white mainstream success so quickly and on such a large scale. He went from Saturday Night Live to headlining films that became cultural landmarks. But his career was also shaped by the racial politics of the time. Back then, there was little room for error. A single scandal could derail everything, and Hollywood had no patience for black stars who didn't play by its strict rules. Eddie learned early on that in order to survive, he had to protect himself. That meant avoiding unnecessary attention, steering clear of topics the media loved to twist, and keeping his personal life completely off limits. That instinct for privacy has never left him. It's what allowed him to build longevity in an industry that burns through talent. Tyler Perry, on the other hand, is the blueprint for independent success. He didn't wait for Hollywood's approval. He created his own lane and forced them to pay attention. He wrote, directed, acted, produced, and financed his own work. He built stages when none existed. He told stories about black pain, black love, and black healing when nobody else would. And for millions of people, that meant something. But with that success came scrutiny. Tyler Perry's choice to portray Medea's strong, funny, gun-toting grandmother in a dress invited criticism. Some praised him for showing range and offering comedic relief. Others said it played into harmful stereotypes or was a tool of emasculation. The truth is, for many black men in entertainment, the line between humor and ridicule is razor thin. And when you're playing a character like Medea in full drag, the public will always have questions, some of them fair, some of them invasive. So, when Eddie Murphy sees Tyler Perry, he may see more than a fellow creative. He may see a mirror of all the things he's tried to avoid, not because Tyler is doing anything wrong, but because Tyler walks into the fire Eddie has spent his life walking around. Eddie knows firsthand what happens when the media starts crafting their own story about you. He's lived through the aftermath. He's had to rebuild after the public turned on him, and so, aligning himself with someone who lives inside a permanent rumor mill might feel like inviting the storm back in. At the same time, there's an entire generation of fans who are watching this tension play out and wondering if it's all just a missed opportunity. Imagine what it would mean to see the black titans of the industry come together, two men who've each reshaped the way black stories are told. Their collaboration could shift the culture again. It could bridge a gap between two worlds, the classic Hollywood system and the new black ownership movement. But for that to happen, the trust would have to be real and the space would have to be safe. And that's not easy to find in Hollywood. A place where the cameras never stop rolling and every move becomes a headline, where rumors are currency and perception can make or break you. For black men, especially, the stakes are higher. They aren't just representing themselves. They're often carrying the expectations of entire communities. Every word, every project, every handshake gets analyzed. And when sexuality enters a conversation, the pressure only intensifies. Homophobia in Hollywood, especially toward black men, is still real even if it's dressed up in more polite language these days. And both Eddie and Tyler have had to navigate that, publicly and privately. It's also worth noting that both men have families and children who are affected by how the public perceives them. Tyler Perry has a son he's spoken about loving deeply and raising with care. Eddie Murphy has 10 children, and he's made it clear in interviews that his priority is to protect them and give them a stable, healthy life. For both men, that kind of pressure adds another layer to the decisions they make. It's not just about what project will sell or what script sounds exciting. It's about what kind of legacy they're leaving behind and how much of themselves they're willing to sacrifice in the process. So when people wonder why Eddie Murphy won't return Tyler Perry's calls, it's not just a simple story of drama or jealousy. It's a reflection of all these layers of history, the image control, the public pressure, the fear of association, and the quiet strategies black entertainers must use to survive and succeed. It's about two men who both carry deep scars from an industry that hasn't always been kind to them. And sometimes that means staying distant, not out of hate, but out of necessity.